Over $19,000 a month with a simple 5-page website that can be made with AI? Oh yeah, and did I mention no SEO and no selling? That's right, today's niche is a doozy. And I'm going to show you exactly how to use Gemini AI to build this entire thing from the ground up. That's right, I'm going to show you everything step by step, from how I find the niche to how I use AI to make smart tools to get tons of traffic and make money. And not only that, but I'm going to dive deep into this niche and show you exactly how it works, so that by the end of this video, you can go out there and create tools in specific niches using AI to make money. Just like one of our students last week, Alan, who set up a simple tool in a matter of maybe a couple of hours, submitted a press release just like we showed him, and banked over $6,500 just a few short weeks later. More about that in just a minute. So if you're excited, smash that like button, because I'm going to show you everything start to finish. Come on, let's go to work. All right, so today's niche is a really good one, and I think anyone can do this. We just need to really focus on how we're going to get the audience here and what we're going to do to make money. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do have students getting results. We had someone getting results with a custom GPT. We had the guy, Alan, get results with a tool just like I'm going to show you here. But I want you to remember that those results are not typical, implied, or guaranteed. In fact, the vast majority of people trying to make money online make nothing. So what we have to do is we have to look at this like a business, not some guarantee of making money or anything like that. We need to focus in a very strategic way and look at the money in the niche and really make decisions on how that niche is going to progress and how we're going to use Gemini AI to make it work. So going through like this, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the main concept of how this works. What we're going to be doing is building a web-based closing cost calculator that uses the Gemini API directly in the browser. Why are we doing this? Well, if you go out there and you look at different closing cost calculators, you're going to see several different ones from Zillow. Banks have them, all kinds of different places, including NerdWallet. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at these calculators and see kind of what they do, because these are actually making a lot of money. So this example here looks like there's not really much of a closing cost calculator. Looks like more or less it just talks about it. So not really helpful there. We're going to try to do better with AI. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of these that actually do have the calculators, like the Zillow one here. And we're going to make it better with AI, because my goal here is, okay, how do we take a keyword like closing cost calculator that obviously has a lot of money attached to it, a lot of people searching for it. We could see 17,000 a month searching for closing cost calculator. For buyers specifically, you have 3,300, and on we go. So what we want to do is we want to look at this and say, okay, well, where's the money, and how do we serve this market in the best way possible? This is super important, because if we do that, we can see that over here, here's the Bank of America one. Here's one that is getting over $28,000 a month worth of free traffic. Another one that's getting about $3,000, took a little bit of a hit, but in its heyday, it was doing $9,000 worth of free traffic. And another one here that's doing right around $13,000 a month in free traffic. So we see the money is here, and I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to know, hey, yeah, these people are buying houses, which are expensive, and that leads to expensive clicks. More about that in just a minute. First, we're going to go through, we're going to fire up Gemini, right, like this, and we're going to start building an app. Very simple, very easy. Now, when we go through and build this app, we want to think about what would these people want. They're either buying or selling a house. They want to know how much they're going to pay in closing costs. They want to be able to estimate it. So our job is to do the research and figure out how we're going to serve this niche the best way possible. If you do research and you look at closing cost real estate, and you toggle over to Google News tab, you're going to see all different kinds of news related to closing cost calculator, how much it costs to sell a home, and different things like that. So what we're doing is we're getting the lay of the land. Now, we can also use Google Gemini Deep Research. If I wanted to open a new Gemini over here, let's go over here to Gemini. We'll open a new one right like this. I could go through and I can use Deep Research. And again, I think Gemini is only like $20 or $30 a month. So this is feasible for anyone. I can say research recent info on closing. Let's do real estate closing costs in USA 2025 and how it's going. And this will kind of understand what's going on. It'll do a research on what different states are charging. Are there new laws? Are there new things out there that are affecting closing costs? Now, again, you could do this manually if you just search Google and you find info on closing costs and things like that. You can do that. It's not that difficult. I found some news reports here where this one actually said that mortgages are on the uptick, about 12.5% more mortgage applications than the previous month. So this is big. We can also see closing costs by the housing area. This one here, Florida, actually is the highest. Or actually, no, Washington, D.C. is the highest by quite a bit. So we're looking at the closing costs there, and these are things that do affect the price of a house, which is something that, again, expensive, a lot of money there. That's what we're looking at. Now, going through here, this will start doing the research for us so we can see exactly what's going on in the market, get an overview, get a lay of the land, run that through another AI, and then we're going to feed that to Gemini. Again, even if we're using Gemini Deep Research, we're going to feed that to Gemini Regular so it understands exactly what's going on. We can also give it this image and say, okay, use this image to find out what's going on, right? Really cool stuff. So what we're doing is we're going through, we're going to figure out what's going on. We're going to explain the cost components in simple terms. We're going to provide personalized tips with AI. We're going to be doing this with the Google Gemini API. I'm going to show you how this works. It's super cheap. I've been using it all week, and I'm still under 50 cents. And a lot of people have been using the tools that I have, and the tools I have are a lot more robust than a simple closing cost calculator. Next, we're going to need basic HTML, JavaScript knowledge. You don't really need this. You just need to know, like, how can I upload and kind of edit things. Now, we're also going to use web hosting. I have info on web hosting in the notes of this video. I use gohubsite.com. We'll put that on the screen so you can see that. You can use GitHub, or if you're on a super big budget, you could even host this as like a Claude app or custom GPT. Not recommended because you're going to miss out on a lot of the money, but if you have to do that, I understand that can be done. Now, as far as the implementation steps, what we're going to do is basic HTML structure. The pages we're going to need, I talked about a 5-page website. We're going to look at the API-enabled tool. That's our home page or page 1. We want that to be the heavy hitter, the thing we're going to use to get people in. Then they're going to click other things that make money. Page number 2 is going to be the offer flip ad page in advertorial style. What this is designed to do is take people from the tool based on what they're interested in, get them to click something else that flips them into expensive ads. The way this works is very simple. If you look at the word closing cost in something like this, you're going to see that the cost per click is not very high. If I do closing cost in something like SpyFu, right over here, you're going to see it's not that big. It's not a lot of money here. I mean, there's a lot of traffic, but $1.67, that's not very big. I would venture to say, I mean, even when we looked it up in Google, there wasn't a lot of ads. So no ads here. That shows us that there's not a whole lot going on. So that's a good thing for getting traffic. It's a bad thing for making money. However, we know that this ties to money, so we're going to be really good here. Monetization strategies. That's where we're getting into this and saying, okay, that one's at like $1.67, which I think is probably closer to 30 cents because of no advertisers. However, when we get into stuff like mortgage, now it's going to jump up to $7. And if we jump into something like sell my house versus realtor, which was actually cheaper, sell my house is at $11. So start with the easy, a lot of traffic, people looking for closing cost. We know they want mortgage stuff, sell the house, stuff like that. Flip to the big. Very cool. Now we're looking at this, and we have those pages there where we're going to flip them. So we have pay-per-click ads. We have affiliate offers, where we're going to go in and we're going to see like Offer Vault. You have mortgages, sell house, realtors, stuff like that. Then we're going to have an opt-in and thank you page if we want to build a mailing list. If you don't want to build a mailing list, I mean, my advice is, yeah, you do. But if you don't, you would not need page 3. Then we have our disclaimers and disclosures and our second offer flip page. Disclaimers and disclosures are going to be the ones you link to that are like, here's the privacy, here's how we use the data, stuff like that. However, in ours, we're not using a lot of data. We'll probably just do what state are you in or maybe a zip code. We don't want any personal info. That's just going to be for our opt-in, which would be email. But again, you want to have like a privacy policy and stuff like that. Then we're going to have our second offer flip page, which would be for a secondary thing. Like sell your house would be one, and then mortgage would be the other, or even refinance if they find that that's better. Now again, I'm going to have all these notes and instructions and a demo to the tool that we build right now over at gotniches.com. Now, again, looking at this, we have a lot of traffic. So what we're going to do is we're going to visualize what this would look like. Here is our preliminary research. It's still going. It's got a lot of websites it's looking at there. We could see typically range from 2 to 5%, market outlook. So I would just probably take this here, and I'd say, let's go over to Gemini 2.5 Pro. We're going to use Canvas, and I'm going to say, let's make a AI enabled using the Gemini API closing cost calculator for people looking to buy or sell a house. Here, here is some info to start with. And let's go through and just see what it comes up with, because I'm a big fan of like, let's start it out in AI, see what it comes up with, and then we'll back it down later. Really cool. All right, so this is going to go through and do that. Let's see how our research is doing. Still going. It's like researching the entire web apparently, which is good because that's going to give us some good data. And then we're going to build this thing out. So we got 2 to 5%, 2 to 5%. And I think the image here is probably based on house price. It looks like it because obviously a house in Idaho isn't as much as Florida, which isn't as much as New York or DC. Those ones are higher, ergo a higher closing cost. It's not that the percentage is higher, it's that the house price is higher. These are things that you want to understand about your market. So we got standard formulas, state specific, click any cost item for instant. So I could even give this to the AI and it'll understand it. So let's see what it looks like. AI powered closing cost calculator. Again, I didn't do anything. I just gave it that preliminary stuff. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to think about what I would want. If I was selling my house or buying a house, what would I want? How would I want to understand this? How would I want to know, like, what am I going to get as a final check when I sell or buy the house? Or what am I going to have as a final check to spend on the house? So we'll go here. We'll do purchase price, down payment. So that's for the buyer. Let's do seller. I think seller is going to be the big one here. Purchase price, down payment. Okay, that probably doesn't factor in for the seller, but it might. State, let's do Florida. That way I can kind of gauge if it's good. I'm a seller. Understanding closing costs. Let's see what comes up. So now it's going to do estimated, and it's actually talking to the AI. So it's not just a calculator. It's actually talking to the AI. So let's see what we got. Estimated closing cost, $31,000. Real estate agent commission, seller side doc stamp. This is cool. It actually did the research in our area, which is fantastic. HOA, property taxes. Now let's make it so on the estimated costs, they can edit them and it changes. Also, down below the side-by-side boxes, let's have AI-enabled tips where it looks at the data and maybe the end goal and gives tips like no realtor, save 3% or whatever. And then I can go through and I could go to another AI. Let's do Gemini. And I'm going to do list 15 uncommon ways to save money on closing cost real estate USA. And this will kind of give them, like, again, we want this thing to be like, hey, there's a realtor embedded in here that's going to help you save money on your house. So it's going to go through and do this. Looks like it's taken a while. We'll scoot this over here. And let's see if it added those other things here. We'll just get that going since this one's taken a while. And then we'll paste this in after, give it a little bit of data and info, and direct it where we want to go so that we have a tool that is better than NerdWallet and all the other ones where now people are going to want to use ours. It's newsworthy. We can promote it. We could get a lot of traffic to it. So we have negotiate, seek out, Ask employer about home buyer assistance. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. Inquire about last minute lender promotions. Nice. Choose a no closing cost mortgage, then refinance. Okay. Assume the seller's existing mortgage, scrutinize. So this is pretty good stuff. So we'll go through and we'll do like this. And we'll just tell it to put this into the logic. So I'll just put, let's use some of this in the logic for the AI stuff. So there we got editable cost. Nice. So when we go here, let's do Florida. And then we should be able to edit these if it did it right. Now the AI-powered tips are coming up. That's fantastic. Let's see what comes up. And we'll put this in the queue for when it's done. Okay, let's see how our research is doing. And then what we'll do is we'll just load this on the site and we'll be ready to go. Like I could put ads on it. I could put affiliate offers, all kinds of stuff. And we know this is paying a lot of money. So we can go through and do like, oh, is now the right time to sell your house? Maybe the AI could say, oh, based on trajectory, house prices might fall, or experts are saying this, or whatever. Really cool stuff that would help them. So now it is editable. There we go. So for buyer, let's do seller. And so let's see what it came up with for buyer. So AI-powered saving tips. Shop around for your lender. Negotiate seller concessions. Cool. Okay, so let's put this in. Then on each AI tip, let's lead them to an article or page on my website talking about that tip. Now that I see this, it might be a little bit more than 5 pages for a website. However, like shop for a lender, that would be the lending page or the mortgage page. Negotiate, that would be the negotiation. So you could probably still get by with 5 pages, I think. Wouldn't be too hard. And let's use this domain. And we'll use the domain that I just recently purchased for this, which is over here somewhere. This one, closingcostcalculators.com. So we're going to use this domain. And let's see what it comes up with. Can you also make a logo at top and disclaimers in footer? Copyright, all that. And this should build it up for us. And our goal is spend the time, think about what people would really want, make the best calculator that's like, hey, put your info in. This thing is going to help you save money, get more money, whatever it is, right? Very important stuff. We can even have like a map. Like, oh, here's a map of the hot selling spots right now. And the AI will go and do that. Now, when we get into using the API, it's going to be a little complicated. I'm going to show you a little tip for hiding the API so that it's using a proxy. We can use AI to do that. Otherwise, you could just replace the API key and stuff like that. So very, very simple. Now, let's see how this is working. We got this going, our uncommon ways. And then what we're going to do is I bought this domain, and we're just going to load it on cPanel right over here. So you're going to see when you load it on cPanel, we're just going to go to closing cost calculators right here. And then whatever's in here, I can make work. So very, very simple, very easy. All I would need to do is go over here and create a new file. So we'll call this index.php, create new file. And now I can start building this out. Closing cost calculators, that's fine. I'm cool with that logo. Enter your details. So let's try this again. We'll do seller, Florida, calculate, see what comes up. And the cool thing about this is it's going to work right away. And then I can say, now show me where I can put my API key so this works on my website. And we can even say, also put spots for banner ads. 3, please. Okay, so we'll do like that. Fix error, and it should fix it pretty quickly. And then we're going to get our API. Now, to get your API, just go to Google, search for Gemini API. It'll come up with the link to your Gemini, and it'll show you where to find them. It's just code. Make sure you keep it secure. Don't want to share that or anything. I'll show you how to do the proxy in just a minute. But first, what we're doing is we're building up this main page, which is the calculator. Now, the calculator by nature will promote itself. So we could go through and promote this on SEO if we want to. I would say do that via press releases. It'll be a little bit quicker. So we'll do press release. Also showing people on YouTube, social media, things like that. You can also post the tips. Like if you go through and do 15 posts about the different ways to save money or make more on closing costs, these are little posts you can do and then say, hey, try out the calculator. That will get traffic of people that are interested. Very cool. So now we have our report that's all about negotiating and stuff like that. So we could even give it discount points. I don't think it had that in there, but we could do that. Let's see if it's working now. So seller, got our logo, got our footer, looking good. Don't see the banner ad spots, I think, because we need to put that in there, but let's test it first. So we'll do Florida, seller, boom. AI tips are coming up. And they should have the links to the other pages in our site. Making those is easy. You're just going to create the page. It'll probably name it .php. If it names it a folder, we'll just make the folder. Okay, so it looks like it's having a problem with the AI. Let's do this. I'll put this in there, and that might fix the error, because it looks like the error is it's not talking to the AI, which could mean it's just a glitch at this point in time. But if we do the API, it should fix that. So going through here, let's evaluate this niche also while we're building it. So I think the competition is actually pretty low, because right now, nobody has an AI-enabled closing cost calculator. I'm going to be the only guy with one as of what I can see. There might be some guy that doesn't know how to market it that has one, but ours is going to be a popular one that we're going to use. So this market, I think the competition is pretty low. Profit potential, I think, is in the high range. Audience size, high range. Growth trend, I mean, we saw from that report, it's already 12.5% in 1 month. It's going pretty high. Houses are selling. There's a lot of houses for sale right now, so this is going to be big. Ease of entry, we got AI. It's not that hard to make this tool. We just go out there and make it work. So now let's see if that's working there. Pay-per-click, flip. I'm going to say the average cost per click is less than 30 cents if I was going to buy traffic, which in this I could. Estimated earnings per click. Some of the markets are $10 or more. Now, again, remember, that doesn't guarantee we're going to get $10 for every visitor to our site. Not even close. That just tells us there are advertisers paying a lot of money. Usually what I see is when it's like a $10 EPC, I'm probably going to be $1 or something like that, right? Because we have to look at it overall. Of all the people who come to my site, some will click the ads, some won't click the ads. That's all part of the EPC. But if I can average a good amount, like we're looking over here, these guys are averaging, it's saying about $1 a click, 3,000 there. This one's saying right around $1 a click as well, right around $1 a click as well. I think that's pretty fair. Again, is it a guarantee? No, you might make nothing. We have no idea. It depends on the ads, depends on the people that use it. Based on my experience of doing this, I think this is a very profitable market that can work. So now we're going through, we have our tool. Let's see if it wants to work. Florida, seller, boom. Okay, so it needs the API. What that means is in your code somewhere, it is going to have a spot for an API. Usually what I would do, go to the code, Control F, API. Here's where you put your API key. So it's going to say replace this. So we're going to put our API key right in there. So if I wanted to build this, I'm just going to copy all, right, like this. I'm going to go to my website to that index.php, edit, paste that in there. Now, what that should do, if everything is all right with the world, we should be able to go to closingcostcalculators.com, right, like this, and it should load our calculator. There we are. We are ready to rock. I mean, this thing's ready. I can edit these banners, put some ads in them, and I'm off to the races. Now, this isn't going to work because we need our API key. I'm going to get that Gemini API key over here. I'm going to load that in. Let's see, Gemini API. Click on the link, and then I'll show you where you're going to find it. It's actually very easy to find. You Google it, you find it, it'll be right here. You can create an API. You can see how much you're spending. So we could see here the billing on mine, 39 cents. A lot of people are using my tools. It cost me a whopping 39 cents for them to use it. If I click here for the key, that's where I'm going to get the key. So I'm going to get that key there. Again, I'm not going to show it because obviously You don't want to do that. We're going to get the key, copy, and I'm going to edit that right here on the website. Okay, so right here, wherever it said API, Control F, we're going to go right here, and let's see where it's at. Should be in here somewhere. API key, maybe it's there it is. So right here, I'm going to paste it. So paste API here. All right, here we go. Boom, save. Now it should work. There we go. So now we have this, seller, Florida, boom, calculate. Okay, API is missing. Please add your API in the script. Should be working. Let's see why it's not. Okay, so I'll do, and sometimes you get the errors here, const API key, replace that. Let me make sure I replace that the right way. Sometimes you don't know. Let's see. So that is there. Replace with your key. Save? No, I did save it. Okay, so let's see. We'll go here and say, I did put the API here. And we'll just say, here. Let's see if it knows what the error is. And again, thinking about this, this is like smart work where I can build something once and get paid over and over if I can promote it right. And if I'm first to market, it's going to work really, really well. So now we have our fake example here. Actual API will look something like this. Check if the API key variable is empty. Okay, so I did put it in there. Let's see. Can you see why it's not working? I put it in there. And then I can probably just give it the file again. Let's see. Okay, right over here. The line in your script is currently an empty string. The API is missing triggered code on purpose. Variable doesn't have a real key to fix this. Let's see if it knows from this. And it should fix that. Now, while we're doing this, once we have that page, I can start making other pages just by doing copy. Let's call this like mortgage. And this is where I would go through and have like a little blurb about mortgages, which will trigger mortgage ads. And I could just go through and edit this here. It's going to be the same as that. It's going to be the same as calculator. But then all I would need to do is remove all this stuff, which is the actual code right there. Boom. That should work. Let's try it here. /mortgage.php. So it does have the header. I would just edit that with some text or something. I can go to Gemini. If I did the deep research, right, like this, I could say, now make an HTML formatted report on how to save money on a mortgage by lowering closing costs. Have several places I can put ads and things. Ads. We'll just put ads. So this will go through and it'll make an HTML formatted. All I have to do is copy and paste that and then link to it from the tool, which now hopefully the tool should be working. Find the API call in the list. Let's see if this wants to work. Index, edit, and I'll get my key. See if the key works. Control F, API, and let's see here. Save. All right, let's see if that wants to work. Hopefully it does. I'll go back over here. Maybe maybe I need to be secure. Sometimes on a new domain it takes a while for it to secure. So we'll just do HTTPS like that. Okay. Like that. It should fix itself eventually. I think it takes like a couple hours for it to do, and I just loaded this domain. Let's see. Florida seller generate. Okay, so for some reason that API is not showing. Let me see what we can do here. Did we save it? We did save it. Replace this. Oh, you know what? Maybe I have it in the wrong spot. That's because I do not have a working brain, apparently. Let's see if this works. All right, so Florida. Seller. Nope, still not working. Let's see. Calculate API missing. So for whatever reason, let me see if I can fix this. Okay, so apparently the problem was that the site actually needed to be secure. Makes sense, the API needs to be secure, stuff like that. So I just enabled the security in my hosting control panel and it worked. So now we have the working closing cost calculator here. The stuff comes up, the calculations work, we can edit it. You can do buyer or seller. It goes through the API for the AI. It's actually getting AI results. So now I have something that is a lot better, and the AI-powered saving tips actually link to other pages on my site. So all I would need to do is make a tips folder or even change these. Like I could go through and say something like, let's do for the links instead of this, let's do no tips folder, and then we'll do .php, something like this. And then it'll go through and do stuff like this. That way we can just make those files. Then all I would need to do is make that file. So watch how easy this is. We'll just go to our cPanel right here, and we'll do new file. Boom. That's going to be our new file, and that'll link to it. So we just want to make sure that it works for all them. And then you can even say, give me a list of all the files you might use in this session or something like that. Now, once we get into this, we can even go further and say, oh, is there other ways to save? Is there some other tip? Or can I put my house price in there and see what it would come up with my exact one and my exact zip code or whatever it is? Now, I wouldn't go as far as like having address info in there because it's not needed. All we need is the price and maybe a zip code. So we can go through and actually build this out and make it super helpful. So now let's see what the tips look like, right, like this. And then we can even have like, let's add some more personalization tips, like maybe ask their goal, get the most, sell fast, pay off mortgage, and the AI gives tips based on these. Maybe like a little light bulb where they can use the creative tips to save. And then I'm thinking like, oh, lender fee, boom, a light bulb pops up, they click it, it gives them the tips. Let's see how this comes out here. Should work really, really well. And then it should have my API key already in it since I put that in. Now, if we wanted to hide the API behind a proxy, all I would do is say, hide the API behind a proxy, use a different file instead of the API. It'll give you the route. There'll be 3 files. One will be like where it has the proxy file, and then a secret file on your server that has all your API keys. Pretty easy to do. I'll let you walk through it. It took me about 30 minutes to understand and use it. But now that I know, I can do that anywhere. And I'm going to let it walk you through that because it's going to be contingent on whatever your file is about. So very important, very cool. So now we have the light bulb. It's showing up. Let's see what else we have there. And again, it is working on our site. Then all we would need to do is edit the other files. And again, like looking at where we had Gemini make this HTML stuff, we can go through and use this as an actual page. It will have the ads in it, which will be really cool. So if I go through and I do, like, let's do over here, get like this, I can go in and I can edit that negotiate real estate one here. Boom, put that in there. And then that should work. Let's see here, closing cost calculator. Should be able to go right here. Boom. And now the page works and it has spots for my ads. So this is where it would link from those little smart tips in the API, or the AI rather. So now we have the new version, calculate. Let's see what happens here. So what's your primary goal? Nice. So maximize profit. It's going to have that. And then cost breakdown. estimated cost. Got the little sun thing there. These will go, okay, so closing cost credit. So in this example, it would be a little bit more than 5 pages, but not too difficult, like agent commission rebate, whatever that is. We could say, now make this page. So I would just do now make a page about agent commission rebates or how to sell a house yourself. That would be a good one because that could get them into like for sale by owner courses. For sale by owner. And then that page I would just save here. So I'd just go in here, build this one up. We'll do new page, new file rather, agent commission rebate, create, and then boom, there we go. Now I would also go through and say, now look at all the logic and have a list of all the possible pages it will recommend so I can make them. I mean, you could probably even tie into the AI where it makes the page on demand. Obviously, disclaimer that we would need a disclaimer here that says this is AI. Don't trust it for big financial decisions, stuff like that. But again, we're looking at making a super helpful tool that is going to give them tips based on custom stuff. And having this, here's all our pages. So these are the ones you would make, right? Pretty cool. And then I would just go in and make all these. So our 5-page site, if we're doing this example, would turn into closer to like a 20-page site, or 16 rather. But going through and looking at this, I mean, I think it would be worth it for me to make a bigger site. However, if you wanted to just do the 5-page site, as I mentioned, you could just have all of these linked to either the 15 tips page or the other. Like, you can include them in all. It's not that big of a deal. But going through here, if you have, you know, all these different pages, let's see here. Where do we go? Right there. Okay, cool. Let's get back to the main page. I think we'll just go to our files here, and we'll go to our main one, closing cost calculator, get the code, and then we'll replace that here. There's the agent commission one. Here's the index, save, and then see how the index one's coming out. There's our index, boom. And then you could have it put in your logo and everything like that. So let's do agent commission, I think is this one, boom. And then that should work in the logic. If we go over here, see how it looks. Agent, I think we have to reload it to get the PHP ones. Get tips. And then as we go through, I would make this more robust. I'd have more stuff in there. So closing cost, insurance, junk fees. This is cool. This is actually really good stuff. It looks like it still did the tips logic, so I would probably change that a little bit. Maybe give it the URLs you want. That would give you more control. Like, here's the 5 pages to link to. No matter how you do it, make it go to these. And then whatever the logic it came up with in the tips for the closing cost, you would link to that, okay? Very cool. There's closing cost credit. And then, okay, so we would have to tell it again. Sometimes you have to tell it more than once. Please make all links simple like this. There we go. And you just have to make sure it's exact, and then that'll work. Let's see if this does the trick here. And then having those advertorial style pages that are like, oh, here's how to get rid of junk fees. That's what's going to lead them into the higher paying offers and the higher paying ads. So now we have this here. Tip link slug. Good. That'll work. Good. So that will fix that link structure so we can have the different pages. Let's edit that. Make sure that this is the right one over here somewhere. There we go. Index, save. And there we go. Cool. So now it's going to go through and embed that in the prompt and everything. Again, I think for most people, that way the AI doesn't start making up links. I would probably say only use these 5 links. Make those 5, maybe one for closing costs, for sale by owner, mortgage, refinance, be your own realtor, or whatever it is. Stuff like that will work really well. Then what we're going to do is we're going to package this site so we're ready to go with the tools. We're going to build it over time. The key to making this work, obviously, results not typical, applied, or guaranteed. Most people make nothing. However, the key to making this work is going to be building and growing this to be the best possible tool it can be. Go out there, do the work, figure out what these people want, figure out, okay, where can I have ads? Where can I have other things that would help them? Where can I have AI go through? Maybe I can say, now let's have the AI find maybe house price trends based on their zip code. And then they could put their zip code in and it's like, oh, hey, house prices in your area are on a decline. Because obviously here in Florida, it's different than other places. Maybe California's on an upcline or whatever you call it, incline. There we go. So looking at that, we can go through and make all kinds of things that will help. And that's going to give a much more customized, personalized experience, which is what people want. They want to know, for my house, what is it going to sell for? So what we're doing is we're making like a digital AI smart realtor or real estate agent, so to speak, that's going to give them tips on that and say, here's how you understand your market. That's how Zillow got big. Like they literally had personalized data based on houses. Now they have the entire world of info, but funny enough, they don't have a good closing cost calculator. So if we have that and we dial it in knowing what they want to do, because nobody wakes up wanting a closing cost calculator. They want to sell their house. They want to save money. They want to do all this stuff. And that's where this is really going to help them out. Very important to look at because, you're going to make something that nobody else has. That is the key here. So going through like this, let's see if it's done and see if it added the logic of the zip code. It probably did. Okay, there's the commission page. And all of these will have your ads and affiliate offers. So we'll save like that. It did change it. Let's see. So this is what your other pages will look like. Again, that's all written with AI. Obviously, fact check it. Make sure it's good. Let's see if this one's working. So closing cost calculators is where I have it. I think that's the right one. All right, so Florida. Did it add the zip code? Not seeing that. Let's double check it. It's this one here. Let's do zip codes. So it did put it there. Let's see. That's our other one. This is closing cost calculator. www. Okay. State. Calculate. Let's see if it has it. And we'll just say, I'm not seeing the zip code on the page. Zip code box. Let's see here. Okay, does it have it down here? No, so it's not putting it in there. Let's see if this will add it. I think this would be super helpful because it'll get like, oh, hey, here's what's going on. Or maybe even find news reports. That would be cool. Let's also have a spot with news headlines about real estate in their area below the AI tips. So now it's going to be like a full page of like, hey, check it out. At a glance, here's what's going on in your area. Here's what's happening here. Really cool stuff. And again, if I can make this as helpful as possible, spend a day, spend a week, spend time making a really good one, and then you'll have something you can promote. So looking at this niche again, affiliate offer quality, I'm going to give it a 4, like obviously mortgage offers. I would definitely want to find a for sale by owner type offer. That would be really good. Direct path to profit, big time. List building, yes. Own product creation, yeah. I mean, you can have a service where you help them negotiate the price of their house or something like that. There's lots of things out there. Obviously, look at the legalities and all of that. Let's see. Did it fix this? I think we need to do like that to close it. Own product, I'm going to give that a 3 because there are legal issues there. But I would say pair with someone that has that. That would be pretty cool. Expansion opportunities, yes, you can go into all things mortgage, make a bunch of calculators. Personal interest, I think it's kind of fun. If you don't like math, maybe this isn't the niche for you. But let's see here if this is working. So we got HTML to HTML, should be good. Let's get this here. And then when I go to promote it, we can go and use like, you know, all kinds of stuff, press releases, tons of stuff. So let's go like this, see how our tool is looking. So closing cost calculators, and you can see this in real time. So it does have the state. For whatever reason, it is just not putting that zip code. Let's try in another browser just to see if it's caching. I don't think it is, but yeah, it's not caching. So yeah, I'm not sure why that's not showing up. But again, messing with it, still no zip. Let's put that up top above house price. And let's have that there so it populates all the news reports. So above house price, it did get rid of the logic of their goal. So let's see if we can put that back in. Put back in the logic that asks their main goal. Save money, sell fast, get out of mortgage, ECT. Let's also ask the payoff amount. That would be helpful. So see how we're going through and building and growing as we go? This is what you want to do. This is how you build a business. You think about every little bit of what would make this the best possible to where people are going to want to share this. That's the key. So now let's see if it'll do that. It's loading. Sometimes it takes a minute. That's okay. Also, if you want all the notes from this, check out gotniches.com. We're going to have all the notes, the tools, example links so you can test this out on your own. Now, in order to get traffic, we can do several things. We can get a domain that has a high ranking. I talk about that in my other videos. I'll put one in the description. We can do ads, like you can do banner ads pretty cheap on real estate sites and things like that. You can do a press release. That is what the client in the beginning, the one that we mentioned, did and got a lot of traffic there. It will pop up. It will get traffic if you structure it right. Just, you know, title it Closing Cost Calculator Enabled with AI Helps Homeowners Save Money or something like that. You can also do SEO ranking if you want to. The press release will help with that. And you can piggyback on other sites. Maybe host this on Gemini or host it on Claude as a artifact or something like that. Let's see if it finished here. Looks like it did. We'll add this other logic here and just kind of build it up. So now we have index. Hopefully it added the zip code box. There it is. Nope. Did it add it? It did not add it. It just does not want to add a zip code. I don't know why. I would have to mess around with that and see why it's not. Maybe it happens when you do seller, state. It didn't add the other logic either. So maybe it's a caching issue. I don't think so, but we will check. In order to do that on your host, we're just going to go cache manager, right like this. And we're going to go to, let's see here, closing cost calculators. We will turn all cache off, no caching, save. Maybe that'll fix it. Let's see. We can actually also test it in the box here for preview. If that has the zip, we'll know it's a caching issue. If it doesn't, then we're back to the drawing board like we were with the secure thing there. But now let's see. So preview, this does have a zip. So it's looking like that probably is a caching issue, which should be fixed now. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's see. It's still not doing it. Let's see. Closing cost calculator. That is weird. So code, copy. I'm just going to name it a new file and see. So this is index. Let's do file manager. And we'll go to closing cost, new file, test.php. Sometimes this will fix it. Edit, save, test.php. Okay, there we go. Now we have the zip. All right, so we'll do 90210. There's purchase price, maximize profit. So if they're a seller, it does have the payoff. Nice. This is looking really good. And now, estimated costs. And let's see. So it is real estate news. See how this is coming together? This is something I can use to make money with. Obviously, remember, this is a business. You're going to need a lot of traffic to make this work. 20,000 visitors a month. That's a lot of people. But these are the kind of tools that can get that traffic. It did fix the PHPs. It does have the local news with the links. Housing inventory, see slight. This is really good. This is a tool that is going to smoke all the other tools out of the water. We got our ads here, creative saving tips, going to the pages like this that'll have ads, help us make money. This is how you build a business. So going through and looking at this, I think this niche is a game changer. Let's see what the score is. We are seeing a 79%. I'm going to say it's like a 99%. So this one is a doozy. Building this out, I'll actually build this out and we'll do a press release and test it and everything like that, show you what happens. But I think this is a really good one. And if you can think about this for other niches, what other calculators can you do for real estate? What other things can you help people with? How can you make it better and make it work to really give them tips? Like here's real estate agent 5%. Maybe we can say, oh, have a drop down there. Title insurance, different things like that could really, really help build this up. And the goal is use this tool to get the most for your house or pay the least for the house you're buying. That's where this is going to look at. Maybe we can even have a chart, go through and say, now make a graph or chart on where most closing costs are going. Something like that. I mean, we could really, really build this out, even have like counties and stuff like that. And thinking about how can I be the best closing cost calculator on the market with AI enabled. This is how you build a business. Going through, let's see what it comes up with the chart, and then we'll get you guys the reports and get you out of here. And over at gotniches.com, we'll have some of the keyword reports so you can see how this works. I will also have a list of other calculators you can do, because this is one where, you go over here, you look at the Keywords Explorer, you do calculator. A lot of these are not AI enabled. If I can make these AI enabled, boom, I'm off to the races. And look at mortgages. 2.5 million searches a month. And again, you can tie these into all kinds of different things. Let's see what our little graph looks like in a minute. And we'll load this on the site, and then you can check it out there as well. But looking at this, you just kind of have to walk it through and really treat it like a business. How am I going to get as much traffic as possible? How am I going to build my niche? How am I going to build this up to be helpful? Where can I have an email list? Maybe I could go through and say, now tie it to my Aweber where they can opt in and get their downloadable house report and maybe a guide on how to sell for more or something like that. And it'll tie it in to where it'll be like, oh, after they opt in, boom, they'll go to the page where they can download it. There we go. So now we're looking at this, and they should have 90210, boom, calculate, and now it'll go through, and it should have that graph. Let's see, where did it go? There it is. So there's your little graph there. Looks like it's having a little trouble with it, so we would say fix the graph or whatever. But then we can add in all this other stuff, build it, grow it, and turn it into an actual business. There are people out there with these rankings that are making money as its own business. So really good. Check it out. Get all those reports at gotniches.com. Check out the videos in the description. Smash the like button if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next training.